What if the next headline you see isn't just about a politician or a court case, but about decisions that could affect your family, your future, and your trust in the system? Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, coffee in hand, scrolling through your phone, and suddenly seeing a breaking update that stops you cold. That's exactly what's happening right now. A new statement from Pam Bondi has reignited one of the most controversial stories in modern American history, the Epstein files. And the details being hinted at are making people across the country ask one question: what's coming next? This isn't just another political headline. For millions of Americans, the Epstein case represents something deeper: questions about power, influence, justice, and whether the system works the same way for everyone. Parents are asking what kind of world their children will grow up in. Workers are wondering whether the rules are truly fair. And everyday citizens are asking if the truth will ever fully come out. Bondi's latest update didn't just quietly land in a legal filing or a routine press statement. It exploded across news cycles, political talk shows, and social media feeds. The language she used suggested that developments behind the scenes may be more serious and more consequential than previously believed. And here's why this matters to you. Every time a scandal shakes the upper levels of power, it can influence elections, policies, and the direction of the country. That means it can impact your taxes, your retirement plans, your health care, and the cost of living for your family. What starts as a courtroom drama can end up shaping the laws that affect your wallet. So tonight, we're breaking down exactly what was said, what it could mean, and why this story isn't going away anytime soon. Because the next move in this saga may be closer and more personal than you think. Who is Pam Bondi and why her words matter? To understand why this update is causing such a stir, you have to understand who Pam Bondi is and why people are paying attention. She isn't just a random political voice or a commentator trying to grab headlines. Bondi is a former attorney general with years of experience in high profile cases, national politics, and legal strategy. When someone with that kind of background speaks about the Epstein files, it isn't treated as speculation. It's seen as a signal, a sign that something may be shifting behind the scenes. And in a case that has already shaken the foundations of public trust, even a small hint can trigger massive reactions. Bondi has built a reputation for being direct and politically active. She's been involved in major legal battles and has appeared in national discussions on controversial issues. So when she makes a statement about the Epstein files, it carries weight, not just in political circles, but in living rooms across the country. For families trying to make sense of the news, this matters because it suggests the story isn't finished. It suggests there may be more information, more investigations, or even more legal consequences ahead. And every new development has the potential to reshape political narratives. Think about it this way: if a major political figure is tied to a scandal, it can shift elections. If elections shift, policies change. And when policies change, your taxes, your benefits, and your financial future can all be affected. That's why Bondi's update isn't just a legal footnote. It's a potential turning point in a case that has already shocked the nation. And for many Americans, it feels like the next chapter could be the most explosive yet. The Epstein case that won't go away. Years after the initial headlines, the Epstein case still refuses to fade into the background. It's one of those stories that keeps resurfacing, each time with new details, new questions, and new controversies. At its core, the case isn't just about one man. It's about a network of influence, powerful connections, and unanswered questions that continue to haunt the public conversation. And every time a new development appears, it reminds Americans that the full truth may still be hidden. For families across the country, this case represents something deeper than legal proceedings. It represents the fear that powerful people might operate under different rules. It represents the frustration of feeling like justice moves slowly, or not at all, when money and influence are involved. That's why Bondi's update is hitting such a nerve. It suggests the story isn't over. It suggests there may still be chapters left to unfold. And for a nation that has followed this saga for years, that's both shocking and deeply emotional. People want closure. They want answers. They want to believe the system works the same for everyone. But every new headline seems to reopen old wounds and raise new doubts. And now, with this latest update, the spotlight is back on the Epstein files once again. And this time, the stakes feel higher than ever. What the shock update actually means. So what exactly did Bondi's update suggest? While the details remain limited, the tone of the message hinted at developments that could reshape how the Epstein files are viewed. The language wasn't casual. It wasn't routine. It was the kind of wording that signals something serious may be unfolding behind closed doors. When legal insiders hear that kind of tone, they pay attention. It often means new information is surfacing, new testimony is being reviewed, or new legal strategies are being considered. For the average American, that might sound distant or abstract. But the consequences can be very real. High-profile cases like this often spill into politics, and politics directly affects your daily life. If new revelations shift public opinion, they can influence elections. If elections change, so do policies. And when policies change, they can impact everything from Social Security to taxes to healthcare costs. That's why this update matters. It isn't just about legal documents or courtroom drama. It's about the ripple effects that could reach your household budget. And right now, those ripples are starting to spread. Why Americans are paying close attention across the country, people are watching this story unfold with a mixture of anger, curiosity, and concern. For many, the Epstein case represents a symbol of something bigger, a test of whether the justice system treats everyone equally. Parents are asking what kind of accountability exists in the world their children are growing up in. Workers are wondering whether the powerful are ever truly held responsible. And retirees are questioning whether political scandals could influence the benefits they depend on. Bondi's update has reignited these emotions. It's brought the story back into the spotlight, and it's reminding Americans that the case is far from finished. And when stories like this dominate headlines, they can change the political climate overnight. One major revelation can shift the balance of power, and when power shifts, policies follow. That's why so many people are glued to the news right now, because they understand that what starts as a legal story can quickly become a financial one. The political fallout that could follow. Every major scandal carries political consequences, and the Epstein case is no exception. If new information surfaces, it could reshape alliances, damage reputations, and even influence upcoming elections. And elections don't just decide who sits in office. They decide the direction of the economy, the future of social programs, and the policies that affect your daily life. For example, a shift in political power could mean changes to retirement benefits, tax rates, or healthcare programs. It could affect the price of groceries, the cost of prescriptions, or the size of your monthly check. That's why stories like this matter beyond the headlines. They have the potential to reshape the entire political landscape. And right now, Bondi's update is fueling speculation that the political fallout could be significant. The question's still hanging in the air. Despite years of coverage, there are still major questions surrounding the Epstein files. Who else was involved? What information hasn't been released? And why has the process taken so long? Bondi's update seems to suggest that some of those questions may soon be addressed. But until concrete details emerge, uncertainty continues to dominate the conversation. And uncertainty is something Americans feel every day, especially when it comes to their finances. When you don't know what policies are coming, it's harder to plan for retirement, save for your kids' education, or manage your monthly bills. That's why people are watching this story so closely, because the answers could have real-world consequences. How this story connects to your wallet. At first glance, a legal update about the Epstein files might not seem connected to your household budget. But in reality, political scandals can have massive economic consequences. If the case leads to major political shifts, it could influence everything from tax policy to federal spending. And those changes can directly affect your paycheck, your retirement account, and your cost of living. For example, a new administration or a reshaped Congress could change Social Security benefits, adjust tax brackets, or alter healthcare programs. And those decisions can have a direct impact on your financial future. So while this story may seem distant, its effects could land much closer to home than you expect. What could happen next? Right now, the biggest question is what comes next. Will there be new documents released, new investigations opened, new legal battles launched? Bondi's update suggests that something may be in motion. But until official announcements are made, the nation is left waiting and watching. And in a story like this, the next development can come suddenly. One court filing, one testimony, or one document release can change everything overnight. That's why staying informed is so important, because the next headline could bring answers, or even bigger questions. If there's one thing this case has shown, it's that the Epstein story doesn't fade quietly. Every time it seems to slip out of the spotlight, a new development pulls it back into the national conversation. Bondi's latest update is proof of that. It's a reminder that this story still has the power to shock, to divide, and to reshape political narratives. And for you, that means staying informed isn't optional, it's essential. Because the decisions made in the aftermath of stories like this can affect your taxes, your benefits, and your family's financial security. So as this situation continues to unfold, pay attention, watch the headlines, follow the updates, because the next development in this story might not just be about politics or courtrooms, it could be about your future. And if you want to stay ahead of the changes that could affect your wallet, your retirement, and your family's financial security, make sure you stay tuned for the next update, because this story is far from over.